All right, YouTubers and podcasters out there, welcome to another episode of Blerd State of Mind. It is yours truly. My name is Seth, as always, and today I have my second guest of the year with me, my friend, my confidant, my homie, Ed. Ed, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? On this particular podcast of Blerd State of Mind, like I said, I want to bring my boy Ed on. The topic today, what we'll be talking about is, well, I guess I'll let him go into that.
Well, hello, my name is Edward Simmons, and I have been a resident of Dayton, Ohio all my life, born and raised. What? I have been a paraprofessional with the DPS, well, Dayton Public Schools, for almost 16 years. I've, well, some college, Sinclair Community College, plan on going back here soon, majoring in psychology. So yay me.
Whoop,
whoop. I can honestly say I've had a unique experience as far as growing up here in Ohio. As if you don't already know, I'm gay. How you doing? And it's a part of who I am, but it's not the only thing that I am.
So, if you can guess our topic today, I'll say we will be talking about basically, I want to say homosexuality. I'll say being gay, but specifically as it pertains to Ed, and some things that I wanted to touch on today is some of the stigmatisms and also misconceptions. What did we say that we're going to do? Talk about the myths and the realities behind,
right, and the debates.
And the debates behind homosexuality. Especially, I feel like for me personally, that the concept of homosexuality, especially in the black community, is such a taboo subject. It's something that, especially for black men, that we don't talk about very often. It's something that we don't embrace, whether it's because we are generally raised in very Christian value-y homes. And even aside from that, it's almost looked at as an abomination or as an affront to the natural order of things, almost to the point where, there's so much hatred and stuff that comes from it. So with Ed being my friend, one of my closest friends that I've developed even as an adult, because to be honest, for me, I don't make a lot of friends as an adult. So to meet someone like Ed, for me personally, not only as an adult, which like I said, I don't make friends like that, but for him to also be a gay man at that, for me personally, I thought it was kind of dope. Some history behind my family, my uncle was gay before he passed. And there was a little bit of some things that went on in my family that I wasn't aware of as a kid, where his lifestyle wasn't, I guess, very accepted, just because of who he was and because of how I don't say how my family is structured as a whole, because a lot of people in my family were okay with it. I guess more specifically, just in the household that I was raised in, it was kind of frowned upon. So that made my experiences with my uncle very limited, just because of his lifestyle. Like, there was an opportunity where I could have visited him. He lived in California at the time, but I wasn't able to visit him because
of that.
Yeah, because of that. Unbeknownst to me as a kid, which I don't want to say it's one of my regrets, because it was one of those decisions that was out of my control, but it just kind of sucks.
Say it was a regret, because that's an opportunity that you missed out on.
Exactly.
No fault of yours, but still.
Right. It was something that was kind of, I felt like it was taken from me. And looking back now, I was like, my uncle was a great guy, blah blah blah. And even after he died, which honestly, I don't know, from what I understand as far as the autopsy and stuff, he just croaked just because.
Natural causes.
Yeah, natural causes. Like, he just went to sleep and then wake up. And right. So like I said, just to miss the opportunity it's a bit of a sore spot for me. But even after his death, a lot of people were on his Facebook page and all that stuff. Like, he was very well loved and well liked, which I feel like is a commonality that you guys share. It's the fact that you have such a very bubbly and spirited personality, which I feel like you kind of shaded a little bit.
I kind of have to, as a kid. This is before I knew shame, so I was a motor mouth. I was constantly talking. I was very energetic. I was very extroverted. I didn't have any qualms about getting up in front of people and talking or anything like that. But over time, little subtle things will come out, and people will. It won't be overt, but there'll be subtle things that they'll do to kind of like push you in a certain direction, or like, well, you shouldn't do that. That's not appropriate. Boys don't do that, and all those kind of things. So over time, you just kind of bottle your light up because it's a means of survival. Because if a certain person sees it, they're going to put forth an effort to snuff it out.
Okay.
And so you have to kind of like protect yourself. You have to guard your heart and all that stuff. I'm the youngest of 4, and I learned gay slurs before I even knew what they meant.
Okay.
So, like, you know, there'd be times where I would get into arguments with 2 of my older siblings, and they, you know, would call me Funny Bunny and Fruit Loop, and, like, my brother would let his friends, like, just talk 14-karat crazy recklessness about me. You know, like, they would even go so far as to call me by a female version of my name.
Oh, wow.
So, like, I mean, it's a lot of stuff that compounds it, but I survived.
So going back to your childhood, how early can you honestly say that you just like that you knew that you were gay?
I can honestly say I knew I was different in the 5th and 6th grade. I just didn't have the vocabulary to express or the ability to understand just what that difference meant. You know, when we would go to gym class, like, I would be the last one to get dressed, so I didn't have to be uncomfortable, like, because, you know, boys will be boys, you know, wrestling and all that extra stuff. I'm not here for that.
Okay.
And, you know, it made me feel awkward because I'm like, okay, dude take his shirt off and he cut up. I'm like, oh, God, like, you know, here I'm, you know, feeling vibes for this other guy, and I don't understand. And, you know, and they knew before I knew. So, like, the whole class was like, fag, yeah, you know. So I had to deal with that. Like, I had to deal with that from elementary school, middle school, high school, even in adult life.
Okay.
Like, because you never know what kind of bag somebody's coming out of.
Okay.
And I didn't really fully embrace or understand until I was in, like, the 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade. I met a former friend, and he was gay also, and he was way more experienced than I was. And, like, we bonded, best friends for years, and over time we eventually fell out. But like, at that time, he was my point of reference for everything.
Okay.
Until I, you know, came into myself and was able to step out on my own.
Okay. But you did have somebody who kind of, like you said, I don't want to say like guide you, but kind of like, you know, flesh out some of the things, like you said, that you had already been thinking or experiencing. Since, like you said, you did lack that vocabulary at
Right.
that particular, at a particular time.
Right.
Okay. So with that also being said, so tracing back to your childhood as well, like you said, family members, you know, calling you female versions of your name, that kind of stuff. Did you, besides, and I don't want to use the word like teasing lightly, because, you know, what may seem lighthearted to them can obviously be more, you know, impactful or even hurtful to you. Did you feel like you experienced like any kind of like, I guess like maybe segregation or even like hatred even within your own family at an early age, or you just knew that you were different?
I wouldn't say segregation, and I wouldn't say like being ostracized.
Okay.
Like my brother just made it a point to torment me, period.
Okay.
Like, so, like, as a kid, terrified of horror movies and stuff. Still to this day, it's certain stuff I just can't watch. Like, I'm paranoid for days after all that good jazz. So, can't go watch The Nun. Can't do none of that. I'm good. But, like, he would, like, when we had thunderstorms and the power would go out, he would crawl along the floor and, like, grab my ankles and, like, drag me across the floor. Like, the sheer terror that a person can experience in that moment, like, and I'm already terrified because petrified of thunderstorms. Like, what kid isn't?
Right.
And, I mean, like, it's just little stuff like that. Like, if there was any kind of segregation, it was self-imposed. Like, I could entertain myself. Like, me and my brother and my sisters, like, we're like really, really far apart. So I'm 35, like my brother's 42, April is 47, and I think Tanya is 49. So, we're not close together. Like April and Tanya, bosom buddies. Chucky and April, bosom buddies. Like, he's her favorite, flat out. Like, he'll call her, do whatever, say whatever, and she's on it. Me, well, I got things to do, but so you know how it goes. And so I just got to a point where I maintained myself. Like, I read, I drew, I wrote, listened to music. It was very cathartic. It got to a point where, like, it wasn't any song on the radio that I didn't know. Like, because that's just how I coped. Like, that's what got me through. Like, honestly, music was my island in the stream, so to speak. It kept me afloat. It kept me from going crazy and, like, just feeling like crap.
Okay. When you say was or is?
Still is.
Okay. Which I haven't heard him sing yet. He won't sing for me, so...
It's not that I won't sing for him. He's just not ever had me in the right environment. So conditions have to be proper.
Well, okay, I'll give him that, because any other time we get together, I'm usually trying to get him drunk or something. But, whatever. Let's say, over here, party animal. Whatever. So, as far as... what are some of the misconceptions that you feel that people as a whole have about, like, homosexuality?
That we're all the same. Like, the only point of reference a lot of people have are the stereotypes. So, think Lamar from Revenge of the Nerds, Hollywood from Mannequin, just all the loud, brash, like, outlandish, elaborate characters that you see in television and TV and movies. Like, that's just not who we are. Like, all of us aren't that. There are some of us that are loud and messy. There are some of us that are sneaky and quiet. There are some of us that are, for outward appearances that you would consider masculine. There are some of us that are more feminine. There is just, it's a kaleidoscope of differences. Like, you can't just put one person in a box. It's like RuPaul recently said, you just can't think a person is one thing. They're usually more complex than that, which they are. And you just, people just think that we're all the same, like that we're all going to be carrying a purse or we all want to be a woman. Like, that's not the case. Like, I'm a boy. I'm just a boy who happens to like other boys. Like, that's as simple as that. Like, you're not going to catch me in a miniskirt or pumps. You're not going to catch me with a full beat on the face. None of that. Right. I mean, there's little things that we all do that are unique to us. And, I can speak for myself and a few people that I know. Like, I feel like every little gay boy has, like, either put on their mom's shoes or played in their makeup or stuff like that. Like, which I know I did. Like, hey, my mom had Avon stuff laying around everywhere. So I'm like, all right, lipstick, let's go.
Right.
And just to play in it. Like, beyond no other purpose than that. It was just something to do. Like, so,
Like any black household, I would say if you were raised in a black household from the 90s on back, somebody had some Avon in the house going on.
That's how I could tell who was in the house. Like, because my aunts, they wore Avon faithfully. That and white diamonds. I knew exactly who it was just by the smell.
That's right. I know my grandmother sold that stuff. She was there. They called her the Avon Lady.
Yes, they all were Avon ladies.
Oh,
and they aspired to that pink Cadillac. Yes, they did.
So, I know that you were talking about this. There's different types. I was like, I want to break it down almost into the word like classifications. I know in the quote unquote straight community or whatever, or just people in general, we call, and if this is a derogatory term or whatever, correct me, but we call some gay people like flamers, that kind of stuff. Like when you were talking about like the more extroverted ones or like the louder ones, like I know that we, like I said, use that term to stick them in that particular box. I know within our personal conversations, like you've introduced me to the concept of the more predatory ones, which my personal experiences has been outrageous. Because from what you described them as, I mean, I've personally dealt with guys that have tried to solicit me for different things. Whether they try to use money or they get all offended and like try to like intimidate me after a while or whatever. which that didn't happen until I actually moved out of Dayton, and I started living in Columbus, and I encountered that more aggressive. I won't say breed, but like that a more aggressive type of person.
Yeah.
So if
And
you
I'm not
can-
surprised because it's a bigger city.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought that like being here, like I thought that Dayton was quote unquote aggressive, but here it's like I feel like it's like you said, it's more quiet, more subtle, more coercive or manipulative. Whereas there it's like, hey, what's up, type shit.
Well, here, since the city is so small, everybody knows everybody. So, like, if you misstep and somebody has documented proof of you coming at them a certain kind of way, your shit can get blown up because all it takes is one person.
Right.
In all honesty, there is no such thing as somebody being DL, because if you mess with one person, all it takes is that one person to just tell somebody else and your shit is out laid bare. So understand, like, your secret isn't quite a secret.
So can you break down some of the different types that you've that you know of that you've encountered? Or actually, how would you like you said, describe yourself personally? Because I mean,
how would I describe myself? Good question. I can honestly say I have a distinct feminine streak. If I've made a phone call to a business or to a restaurant or what have you, oftentimes they think I'm a lady. Like, I've had pizza drivers who are not supposed to get out of their vehicles come to the door just so they can see the person attached to the voice and be, like, painfully disappointed. Like, 6'3", hey, how are you doing? But I don't know. I guess you could just, carve me out as a nerdy, crafty queen, I guess, I mean, I'm just artsy fartsy, like, kind of hippy dippy.
It is.
Yeah. So, metaphysical thing, all that stuff, like, so you can just call me a hippie gay. That's where I am. I'm not exactly butch. I'm not exactly femme, so I'm just somewhere in that middle ground, just enough.
Okay.
And, we've all met the extreme queens where, it's like bangles, lip gloss, and, like, just designer everything. The ones that cling to the stereotype, like they steal, all that stuff. Like, I've met plenty of those, like, like we're not all thieves, so don't take that to heart. Just like everybody else, don't nobody like a thief. We don't either. It just ranges. Like, you'll come across different people in your experiences, and there'll be some that you can't clock. It's been many times where I've been confused and surprised, quite honestly.
Can you tell us a time about that, or without, I would say, putting anybody's business out there?
I ain't gonna put nobody's name out because I don't want nobody doing it to me. But there was a guy I worked with when I worked at Kroger's on Gettysburg. It was like I worked there for like 6 years, and I just looked at him one day and I'm like, he's gay. And I told a coworker, she's like, no, he ain't gay. I know his daddy and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, but okay. You don't think about it anymore because, quite honestly, I consider my gaydar a whisper more than an alarm. So I'll be sitting there and I'll look at somebody like, he's gay. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't have any evidence, so I don't pursue it. And then later on down the line somewhere, it'll just pop up like, I was right.
Right.
And getting back to that story, maybe 2 years after he left Kroger's, the same person I told that he was gay, or that I thought he was, she was like, you'll never believe this, but you were right. And I was like, who knew? I did, I guess. But it was a trip. Like, you never know. And what people fail to realize is the reason why there are DL men and just men who just remain or prefer to remain closeted is if you are honest about who you are or who you love, you risk losing your manhood. And that's how they feel. Now, that's not true because regardless of me loving another man, I'm still a man. So if I have to defend mine, I'm going to defend mine.
Okay.
So that goes for family, friends, lovers, and all. Like, if I'm down for you, I'm down for you. So if we got to do something, we got to do something. But like, it's like a forfeit, and they're not prepared for that. It's a unique kind of strength that comes with being black, gay, and male in America, and everybody is not emotionally equipped or strong enough to weather that, and that's what people don't understand. One thing that people don't understand.
Okay. So help break that down for me. Like, why is it, like you said, that regardless of, like you said, if a man decides to choose to be a certain type of way, like you said, if he wants to love who he wants to love, where is that correlation, or where does that fear, like you said, that forfeiture of manhood, where does that come from? Because I know, like I said, when I talk to you, like, never in a million years in my mind, when in our interaction or anything, am I like, Ed's not a man, and it's not just because I've got a old school way of thinking, like, you're born with a dick, biologically you're a man, you're just gonna be a man, even if you cut it off and turn and went transvestite, whatever. To me, you're still a man.
Transgender, not
Transgender. I'm sorry, transgender. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I have him to correct me on stuff. When you if you began to transition, to me, you're still a man. The point is that regardless of some of your characteristics or how you are, anything like that, in my mind, I always see you as a man. And to
As
me,
well you should.
yeah, but like you said, like, some people feel like that they forfeit that. Where does that concept or that fear come from?
It's societal.
Okay.
Because you're taught at an early age, boys don't play with dolls, boys don't cry, boys don't do this, they don't do that. Okay. You have to be tough. You're taught to bottle your feelings at an early age. You don't express, you don't emote, you don't do any of that. That's what girls do. Girls talk about their feelings. Girls write in diaries. Girls do all that.
Okay.
And that's why girls are so much more developed, and they develop so much faster than boys, because they're allowed to emote. They're allowed to understand themselves. They're allowed to break down those emotions, because emotions are the most primal substance or energy that we possess. You can't control them. You can't confine them. All you can do is ride the wave, whatever that wave might be, whether it's rage, pain, sadness, whatever. You just got to ride it out, because when you bottle things up, it's going to come out, and it's usually in a way that you least expect, and you can't control it when it does. Like, so when you have the little Freudian slips or what have you, that's your emotions coming out to play. All that stuff that you keep back down and pack down, that's what that is. And when you can't express that, you become angrier, often violent. That's why you have some guys that when they see a gay man in the street, they're ready to fight immediately. Like, no qualms, no questions. Like, oh, look at that fag, I can't stand that. Like, what have I said to you? What have I done to you? Have I come on to you? And that's another thing, too. Don't think just because somebody is gay, they want you because you're a man. Or that you're straight.
Okay.
Do you want every woman you see? No, you don't. Half the ones that's worried about getting took. You look rough, sir. Think about that. And half of you don't even bathe. So, I mean, what can we say? Grown men with skids. I don't get it.
Hey, we putting them out there like that.
A hit dog, a holler now. Just so you know. But that's where that forfeiture comes from. That's where that fear comes from. Because if I accept that I love another dude, I'm no longer a man. And it's taught. Like, they don't in the barbershop settings and all that stuff, if you hear the conversations that go on, like, it's very derogatory, it's very hateful, and like, I'm uncomfortable in barbershops. That's why I seldom go, if at all. Like, thank God my sister's a beautician and she can cut hair, but like, yeah, for all intents and purposes, I don't go. Just for that reason. Because I hear all these conversations, and like, who wants to be exposed to all that negativity all the time?
So I know that, especially in our age right now, the word toxic is a big thing. Would you say that the barbershop culture, as far as it being conducive to as far as like homosexuality, would you say that is a toxic environment then?
It can be considered one.
Just because of all the negativity and, like you said, like the fact that they just trample on it so much, or it's so, like I said, they're just not. It doesn't seem like they're very accepting accepting of your culture.
And it can be considered toxic, like, but you have the choice of going or not. You have the choice of finding a place that suits you. And it's not my goal to make every setting just for me, because you can't. You can't expect that. Now, all I can ask somebody to do is to respect me as the person that I am, and that's all. I can't change how you feel. I can't change your views. I can't make you believe something that you don't believe. And that's okay with me. I'm not here to be your Messiah. That's not what I'm here for. Now, if I can enlighten you in a way and you're open and receptive to that enlightenment, that's great. I'm not opposed to teaching you something if you want to learn it. That's fine. But everybody's not going to be that open-minded. And that's why I'm really thankful for you as a person and as a friend, because, there's a rare few straight men that are confident enough to claim a gay friend.
Okay.
And you're one of a very small group. And it's like, and it's rare. It's a rarity. Like, because, there's a difference between being tolerated and being liked. And it's distinct. And I can honestly say that you like me as a person on a whole. And I appreciate that. And that means the world to me.
Well, I'll say, as I told you before, you mean the world to me. Like I say, I don't make friends like that. So say, like I said, to meet somebody like him, I was saying the fact that we just click the way that we do. I mean, we out here. He got his Marvel. I got my Marvel-ish. So yeah, I was saying we vibe on a whole lot of levels. And which, funny background, I actually because I met you through a friend of mine that you were dating at the time. And then even after y'all broke up, now we still friends.
Right.
So,
closer than the friend that brought us together.
Right. So, who knew?
Right. Surprise.
So, I want to say, when we talk about, I want you to be my black gay Jesus. You want to be somebody's Messiah, you can be my black gay Jesus. I'm okay with it.
Sashay across water.
So, I know you were talking, or no, as far as we touched on misconceptions, what are some assumptions that you think or that that people have made about you throughout the years? From early on when you were still trying to figure, I guess, yourself out as far as some things, like, and even until today, what are some of the assumptions that people make about you?
I don't think people take me seriously, and they don't think I notice as much as I do, because I'm quiet and I don't express a lot. I catch people in lies all the time. I'm the kind of person that in a conversation, I'll just nod and agree for the most part, unless I have something like pertinent to interject. And the thing about people is, in awkward silences, they have an urge to fill it, and sometimes they just pour out things that you don't even ask for. So people assume that I won't retaliate because I haven't, but don't mistake the fact that because I haven't, that I can't.
Okay.
Now, if you trust a secret in me, you've given me a secret, and I'm going to keep it. No matter how angry you make me or however you play me or whatever, I'm going to keep your secret. That's not the person that I am. It's not for me to drag your tea in the middle of the street and spill it. I don't do that.
All right.
But people just assume that I'm weak, basically, or that I'm not able or I'm not capable of a lot of things. And they just don't know me as a person.
So with that being said, on the rare times that you have retaliated, how does that usually go?
They're usually shocked, and then they're like, oh my God, why would you do this to me? But now I'm the bad guy because I just fired back. Okay. I'm good at just shutting stuff off. So once I reach a certain point, I'm out. And you don't have to call me, you don't have to talk to me, you don't have to look at me, you don't have to do anything. Like, when I'm done, I'm done. Yeah, like, I'm capable of a lot of stuff. I have a dark streak. People just don't see it. They just think, oh, he's so nice, he's a big teddy bear. Well, grizzlies have claws, hun.
Right? He said he'll scratch you. He'll scratch the hell out of you. You mess around, scratch me. I was over here trying to wrestle your big self one time.
Yeah, it was your fault.
Right. Caught me right all up across my arm. I was like, Jesus Christ.
It happened too quick. Sorry about it.
All right. So I want to say that besides, dealing with probably, like I said, a lot of assumptions, probably some prejudice and whatnot, I would say that probably ignorance, just that, and I won't even say ignorance as far as like people just not giving a shit and just saying or doing things, without any kind of care or consideration, but just even from the standpoint of them just having like the lack of knowledge, just because they don't know, or like you said, they haven't sought out to even educate themselves, about, I want to say, like, the gay culture, or like how, or lifestyle, how, or even you are as a person. How much effort do you take to educate people? I know you said that, obviously not just out here running some kind of clinic or whatever,
right?
Just, holding classes on like how to deal with, gay people, or how to embrace your own sexuality type of thing. But do you feel it is your responsibility to educate people? Or do you feel that is on an individual's basis and that's something that they have to take upon themselves? And even then, in a case such as mine, where, I do ask you a bunch of questions because I'm just naturally curious, in which you've indulged me many, many times. Shit, you're indulging me right now.
I mean, no, like, and that's the thing. I don't feel it's my responsibility to educate you, but if you seek me out and you have genuine questions and you are genuinely curious and you want to understand and you want to know, I don't have any problems helping you understand or find out or figure out or whatever. I will answer whatever question is asked of me. I don't mind. Now, mind you, be respectful how you ask it, because delivery is key.
Okay.
And, like, I don't mind telling people, as long as you want to know, I'm here for that. I'm here for you. So, future reference, if you seek me out, I'll answer questions, people. As best as to my ability I can, I will. But it's not my responsibility. Like, if you want to know, you want to know. If you don't, you don't. I'm not about to try to force feed you or hold you down and shove it down your throat and all that stuff. Like, that's not what I'm here for. That's not how things go. It shouldn't go.
Okay. And now, as far as like the education aspect of what this thing goes, I know, I'll say, most recent, we'll say 10 years, I know there has been a very steep uptick in representation in, say, movies, media, whether it's just social media, anything now. How do you feel about the current state of like representation as far as, like I said, homosexuality in any kind of media? And do you feel that it is being represented, I guess, well, but also in the way that, like you said, it does educate, and I guess it is making I don't want to quite call it a safe space for the up and coming generation?
It's getting better, but there's always room for improvement. Shout out to Billy Porter, Ryan Murphy, Marshala Ali in Moonlight. All those things are positive reflections of who we are and who we can be. It shows growth, it shows range, and it's getting better. It's so much more than what it used to be. Even with Steven Universe, The Loud House, what else? Even Avatar and The Legend of Korra. Like, the way they are approaching same-sex relationships is so smooth and so effortless and so natural that I'm ecstatic. Because you have little kids that have these feelings and don't quite understand them and don't see themselves represented in any way. And no, they may not quite have the verbiage for it, but Like, oh, well, if this, they're doing it, like, it's not weird. And people fail to realize that, like, kids are more intelligent than anybody gives them credit for.
Oh, yeah.
And they're emotionally attuned far more than any adult. And it's just a great thing to see. It's just, like I said, it's just very effortless and just very normal. And I say normal because, for lack of a better word, because normalcy is highly overrated. And it's relative. Like, so normal for me isn't going to be normal for him.
Right.
Normal for us isn't going to be normal for y'all. So, it's just a difference. But I'm thankful that it's on an upswing with Pose and even in American Horror Story, like the gay undertones in that, like, we're growing as a whole, as a culture, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm hoping that future generations can look back and be like, well, this is where it started, and here we are now, like, and be embraced and be happy and be positive and just be able to live your life without having somebody look down their nose at you.
Okay. And on the opposite end of that, I know that in my conversations with, I would say a lot of hetero males and whatnot, it's like they almost feel like there's this attack against, one, against masculinity, and then two, black masculinity at that, for the fact that even with, like I said, the uptick in representation, it's like they almost feel like, any strong male black lead now, it's almost seems like they have to be gay. Or there's some kind of gay agenda in it now. Whether you take the example from Empire or what was the most recent one, even in the comic book community, people were upset that the Aqualad was gay. That kind of stuff. They always feel like I said, there's some kind of attack or some kind of agenda against us as black men, which, to be honest, I'll agree to an extent that black people as a whole, we are under attack in a lot of ways. Black men have always been under attack, but now it's almost like they want to stick. It's almost like they want to use, quote unquote, the gay agenda as a silver bullet.
So, as a hetero male, black male no less, what do you feel the gay agenda is?
Me personally,
In your honest opinion.
I kind of feel neutral about it, but that's also because I guess I don't feel like I'm being force-fed, but I also feel like I'm disconnected from it as well, just because I don't participate in social media like that. I'm not out here clubbing or doing a bunch of other stuff. So my world and my interactions with it, I don't want to say it's limited to an extent, but it is. But also with it, I don't know, I'm so open-minded about it. It's like, I don't want to say like I don't care, but it's like I'm okay with it. Okay. I'm saying, to put it simply, it's like I'm okay with it because I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, I don't personally feel like I'm being force-fed. It's like I like the things that I like, and sometimes it sprinkles in there, sometimes it don't. I guess my issue is like when I feel like there's almost like an unnatural flow to it. And my whole thing is like in my media or my movies and stuff, I love a good story. So when I feel like something takes away from quote unquote good storytelling, just to kind of and I told my friends this all the time, I had an issue with that whole big scene at the end of Avengers Endgame where all the women just appeared on the battlefield at the same time and then they just went out and crushed stuff. Didn't have a problem with them crushing stuff, but it just realistically, maybe because I've seen battlefields and stuff, you're not gonna find all these people in the same place at the same time. So when I feel like you try to force something into a pocket like that, then that's where I have an issue, because I feel like you're taking away just from content or like you said, the overarching thing. But other than that, I'm okay with it.
Right, and that was like, and that's more so your it affected your suspension of belief, basically.
Okay.
Because you have the reality of a battlefield. So like, to see that, it's like, that wouldn't happen that way.
Right.
And I understand that. And as far as the gay agenda goes, there isn't one.
Okay.
About the only thing I can tell you is what I plan to do in the morning: get up, go to work, be me. And yes, I just happen to be gay, so bang bang. But there's no agenda. There's no indoctrination of your children. Either you are or you aren't. Now, mind you, there are situations that are that involve extenuating circumstances between molestation and all those things rather, and it causes sexual confusion. I have no doubts about that. I've seen it in people, and I've talked to my friends and and family members about it, at length, and it will mess you up.
Yeah.
But as far as being gay, it's like a switch that's being flipped. That's not the case.
Okay.
You can deny yourself all your life. You can get married. You can have kids. You can live like the nuclear family, whatever, with like 2.5 children and a dog. But the reality of it is, you still want to screw Brad next door, and you just might screw Brad. And then later on down the road, you want to marry Brad. And you do. And then your kids are left, and your wife is left, and the dog is left. And then you have this bitter woman that you've just damaged after all these years. And it's sad. And not to say all women are bitter just because somebody left. That's not the case. Excuse me. But, you damage people doing stuff like that. That's what the whole DLC, that's why there's so much trauma surrounding it, because it's just hurt. It's just hurt people hurting people continually. But as far as an agenda, there isn't one. I don't care if Seth has like 6 wives. Sister wives, whatever. You can have a whole tribe. Do you, sir? That's your life.
Kill myself first.
Before
one of them kill me.
Okay. I'm not here to change him or make him anything that he isn't. And he's not doing that to me. We have to, as a whole, stop trying to encase everything in a little box. Life is not that simple. Yeah. It is not just black and white. There is a multitude of gray.
Yeah.
And if you would just let yourself be open to learning. And that's a lot of mistakes that people make. Like, after they reach a certain age, they feel they don't have to learn anything else, do anything new. Like, even if it's so much as getting a cell phone. They're not here for it. They don't want to learn the technology. They don't want to learn the things that surround it. I get it. Some of it's difficult, some of it's not. But be open. Always be open. Like, even if you can't open your heart, open your mind. Because knowledge can lead to change, and change can change your heart. That's all I can say.
Okay. Got deep and profound there.
Little taste.
Just a little bit. Okay. Let's see. We touched on education, some of the myths, realities, conceptions. We talked about your background a little bit. The current state of masculinity in the black community. What are your thoughts on it? And how has it changed from when you were growing up until now? Or do you feel like it has changed?
It's changed. It's certainly changed. Being gay isn't as taboo as it once was. Now, you have those old standouts, like, where maybe they're being raised by an uncle or a granddad or what have you, and like they just, they feel a certain way about gays. But me working in the school system, I see a mixture every day. And like, we have some extravagant young men like that is, them when you see them. It's just, that's all I can say. Bless their entire spirits, because they are powerful little beings in their own right, because they are living flat-footed in their truth. And I can't knock that. And they have more courage than I could ever have. And they're accepted for the most part. Like, now, sometimes they do things that push the envelope a little too far, but some things you got to learn on your own. Like, some people you can't tell, some people you got to show. So they'll learn one way or another. But as opposed to when I was younger, like, every day it was something, and it was a certain phrase that they would use. Hey, bro, I got a question. Now, mind you, when they say this, I already know what the question is.
Okay.
So, me being who I am, I just instantly say no. But I didn't even ask the question yet. No. But you don't even know what I want to ask. Yes, I do. No. Because I felt it wasn't any of your damn business. Because you're not going to be in a relationship with me. You are not financing me. You are not feeding me. And you're not fucking me. So, you don't need to know anything.
Yeah.
You know, and I kept to myself. I was of a kind, like, if I was going to be considered a pariah in high school, I was going to be the best damn pariah I could be. So I embraced myself completely. All the little odd things that, you know, you could think of, I did. I went through a dragon phase. Like, all my clothes had dragons on them. Like, I did a lot of extra shit for no reason. And, like, a lot of it was out of spite. Like, spite motivated me a lot in high school. Because my dad, like, he couldn't stand the dragon clothes. And, like, I would still take his credit card and go get whatever the hell I wanted. Like, dragon stuff. Swipe. And, you know, it would frustrate him. And I think it took him a minute to realize who I was going to be. But when he did, I think it kind of hurt. And, you know, I'm speaking for him, but, you know, I'll never know because he's old school, so he don't talk like that.
Chief,
you know.
Chief Silvermane.
Okay, like, daddy's, you know, he's an emotional lockbox, so you rarely see him cry. And if you see him cry, it's because somebody's gone. So,
yeah.
It's just, it's changed. It's changed. And hopefully in future years, like, we can be even better. I don't know.
Yeah, when you talk about emotional lockbox, when I went to your mother's funeral and I saw your daddy cry, it hurt me to watch him cry.
It was, I can honestly say losing my mother was one of the most traumatic experiences I've ever had in my life. Now, mind you, I came out years ago. Hell, my aunt was still alive, so it was before 2013. And I did it via Facebook note because I didn't trust the words coming out of my mouth in front of people. So, like, I figured I could reach a broader audience by doing it that way. And, you know, my aunt called my mother before I could even say anything to my mom because my mom wasn't on Facebook. So, she calls me. She's like, well, I told your mom. Well, I didn't want anybody to sideswipe her, you know, surprise her and just come out of nowhere with it. And I'm like, thanks. And so I called my mom and she's like, well, that ain't no damn news. I'm like, here I am ready for this big made-for-TV moment. Like, you know, cast out of the house, all that shit. Mind you, I was moved out anyway, but still. And she's like, that ain't no damn news. She's like, your daddy just wondered why you went and did it that way. I'm like, because I didn't trust myself to say it out loud. Like, it took me so many years just to get the confidence to even say anything. And I can contribute that to my then boyfriend, who is no longer.
Like, sound like the man dead. I'm just kidding.
Well, why don't you? You know, but yeah, my mom was my best friend, and when she left, it was traumatic. She passed away in the house. We had taken care of her. We had hospice care, and nurses would come out and they would tend to her and everything. And she passed in her sleep. Like, she just went to sleep, and that was it. And it took, like, everybody broke down, like, profoundly. Like, but I think I cried for all of 4 minutes, and then I had to start making phone calls. And so, like, I was crying as I called my aunt, my dad's sister, and, like, she already knew, and so she called my other aunts, and I had to pull my shit together. We immediately started planning, making funeral plans. Like, my dad was in a fog. My sisters were destroyed. My brother, I think he was more so angry. Because it seemed like no sooner than he came through the back door, that's when she left. Like, she knew we were all there, and she just took her leave. And, like, my dad, like, they were married for, I want to say 40-some years.
Yeah.
Or somewhere in there. And, like, he lived for her. And vice versa. And, like, to see him lose her, something in him broke. And it was shortly after the funeral and everything, and we were all sitting in the house. My brother's friend had just left, and, you know, my brother had just left. And my dad was sitting across the room from me, and I was sitting on the edge of the couch, and I was watching TV. And you know how you feel somebody's eyes on you, so you look up. And I just saw him staring at me. And, like, he had this pain, like, questioning look on his face. And I think in that moment he saw my mother in me. And when I looked, he just, like, kind of shook himself, and, you know, he started looking at the TV again. He hasn't been the same since. And neither have I. Losing her opened up a barrier that I didn't think I had put up. Like, I think she gave me her confidence, her fire. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
I see you tearing up a little bit.
My mom made me a better person. And there is not a day that I don't think about her. And the strength that she instilled in me. Like, so, I can go out in this world and face whatever because of her. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of the idiocy that I see every day. And I don't care anymore. Like, I speak now. Where before I would just hold back and not say anything. Now it's like, fuck it. Sharon Simmons is at your back, and she's got it. And she's going to make sure that you're okay. And this is exactly what I didn't want to do. I did not want to cry. And you have to understand that when there is somebody that knows you, flaws and all, keep them close and tell them on a regular basis how much they mean to you, because you never know when they won't be there. That's why I can honestly say I'm thankful for the friends that I have and the friends that have entered my life throughout the years. They have added so much color and vibrancy to my life. And one thing I say to the masses is that if somebody chooses to tell you their truth, understand that they are trusting you with their most treasured secret. The strength it takes to tell somebody who you are is something that you may never know. And the fear that comes with it, like to not know if this person is going to come out of a bag on you or hold you as you sob. It's powerful and it has weight. So understand that you are a special person if they choose you for that purpose. And you're necessary. This world is a dark place, and nobody needs to go through it alone.
tearing up.
I know. Oh God, I know. Oh man. Oh, I was not prepared for that one.
Yeah. No, that's why I asked you. I was like, yeah, I was like, we don't talk. We don't talk. So I didn't know what you might want to touch on or not. You said, hey, I'm an open book. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've been honest with myself all my life. Like, whether, me being weird or whatever. And weird is a relative term because, hey, I fucks with weird.
Clearly.
Whether it's tarot cards or crystals, I'm here for all those meditative vibes, boo. Give them to me. But I just love myself, and I love my friends.
Speaking of your crystals and whatnot, and I don't know, this is always a weird subject for me just because religion crosses over into just about every aspect
of life.
Of life. It is life for most people. It's eternal life, damnation, whatever.
Oh yeah.
So
that tricky bit.
To circle back around to some of these myths and misconceptions, I know something that I guess I struggle with, circling back around to my uncle, and something that I had to wrap my mind around as a kid. Something I was taught, had grown up in Christian household, Christian church, whatever. All gay people pretty much go to hell.
Yeah.
And I think after my uncle had died, I remember I was walking home from, I think, the library in Trotwood. And for some reason I was thinking about him. And I was like, and it tore me up a little bit to think about the fact that this great human being, which, like I said, I barely knew, but like I said, it was just right after he had died. And like I said, man, people were just all over his Facebook just praising him and posting pictures and emails talking about how great he was and all these contributions he did. Like, he was an outstanding guy. And he touched so many people. And it hurt me
to think that's what he will be subjected to for his afterlife.
Just because of
who he chose to love, or who he loved.
Of who he loved. I mean, and that's a whole nother thing I wanted to ask you too. It's like, do you feel like it's a choice, or do you just feel like you are just who you are?
You are just who you are. At no point in my life have I been sexually attracted to a woman. Like, I've not had the urge to touch, rub, feel, finger, whatever. Like, that's never been a part of my makeup. I can appreciate the beauty of a woman all day. Because if you're gorgeous flat out, regardless of what sex you are. Like, beauty is beauty, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's not a choice, because you have to ask yourself, who would choose to be tormented, ostracized, and just overall, like, rejected their whole life?
Yeah.
And you have to take in consideration, like, most gay folks, they create their own families. It's very rare that you find a gay person that is in complete contact with their biological family. The more common occurrence is that, they've been kicked out, like, they've been thrown on the street, and they've had to fend for themselves, like, until they, come across somebody who takes pity or what have you and helps them, and they get on their feet and they can live on their own. Who would want to go through that willingly, like, just for the sake of that? Yeah. It's not a choice. Like, it is who you are. It's a part of you. And as far as going to hell, I had this discussion the other day with a cousin of mine, which I showed you. And
that thread was
it was like a dicey post. Like, his question was, do you believe the gays go to heaven? And I wasn't going to respond. I was like, you know what? No. But it just kept popping up in my timeline. So I was like, you know what? I'm going for it. And, I was respectful. I didn't swear. I wasn't rude. And I just like, we live, we love, we pray just like you. And we die just like you. You don't know the relationship people have with God. You can't tell. You don't have a heaven or hell to put anybody in. And as far as the Bible goes, It's been written so many times, and so many things have been omitted and changed. It was written by man, and God gave everybody free will. So who's to say that a jaded little queen back before Christ, or after Christ rather, didn't just take it upon himself to say, like, okay, all the gays go to hell because I didn't get taken to the social. You know, I mean, and it could be just that simple. But nobody wants to talk about that. You're not supposed to eat shrimp, wear polyester, and all that jazz. Now, do we? No. That you're not supposed to consort with women on their period? No. Because I know some of y'all think that don't nothing stop a period, but a period don't stop nothing but a sentence. So, crime scene much, okay? I mean, come on. It's not a choice. And if it was, shit, we'd make it the better choice. I mean, come on, like, grow up. And just to mindlessly follow basically whatever's put in front of you. I'm more spiritual than I am religious. My mother was raised Baptist, converted to Methodist when she married my father. My dad didn't even have to go to church. Neither did my papa. I was made to go to church until I was maybe, I think, 12 or 13. And then I was able to say, I don't want to go. And my dad didn't make me go because I didn't want to go. So even though my mother wanted me to go, I didn't have to go. Praise God. See what I did there? But, you know, as far as like religion goes in my book, I pray to everything good in the universe. Put it that way. So whether it's Zeus, Kione, Buddha,
All Father.
You know, anybody, you know, whether it's an Orisha, you know, as long as you're bringing me positivity, I'm here. You know, all I can do is meditate and pray and find my center. I live by this. When I go out into the world, I'm trying to be the best me that I can be. And we all are not perfect, and we all fall short regularly.
Yeah.
So
some of us more than others.
Okay, so hey, I'm here to make it as best I can, and if I can help you on my way, I'm gonna do that. But you know, as far as like condemning somebody to hell, if there is one, if there isn't, who knows?
I think we here right now.
Hey,
16 degrees, it's cold as
I'm
hell.
trying to tell you. I mean, you know, it's just different. Like everybody has their views, and it took me a minute, like even going back and forth with him, which he was missing the point entirely, sadly. I just let go. You can't make, like I said, you can't make somebody believe something they don't believe. So, you know, if you feel that way, I told him, I said, I'm sorry that you feel that way. And hopefully in time you might grow and understand something differently and your views might change. But that's you. So have at it. But for me, nah. I'm not putting anybody anywhere because I'm not better than anybody and I'm not here to judge anybody. I don't have that right.
Right. No, I damn sure don't.
Okay?
Oh, man. That's some deep stuff right there.
Isn't it just?
Just a little bit.
Okay, just right on in the deep end, didn't
I was
we?
saying, I know somebody about to be mad at that.
Everybody
Especially that
about
last
to,
piece.
between my bitter statement, that, all of that. And you have to ask yourself, as a people, would Christianity be our religion had our ancestors not been shuffled over here in shackles? Think about that. Because we are the only people who have lost their language, their history, their religions, all that.
Yeah.
And we're so mixed up, we don't even know who is in our family.
Right. If I go back about, 3 or 4 generations, it starts getting a little muddy.
Very much so. And you know, everybody want to say, I got Indian in my family. My mom was a Cherokee princess. Europeans here do this too. Think about that. It might not have been a Cherokee princess. She might have just been a French whore.
Ugh, there it is.
Some of that. But, I mean, it is what it is. you know, life is a mixed bag. It's a mystery mix. So take what you want from it and leave the rest.
Got anything you want to wrap up on?
Be good to your fellow gays. We're here for you just like, you know, anybody else. Like in those fights, we're going to be by your side. So treat us well. We'll do the same.
Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate you coming on today, man.
I enjoyed myself.
I want to say, everybody, like I said, you can find him on Facebook and Instagram if you ever want to check him out. I know that you also do like some knitting and whatnot as well that you do sell for a price, because nothing in this world is free. And he actually makes good stuff. He made some stuff for me and my daughter's mother a couple Christmases ago.
I think so.
Yeah, nice little hats, scarves, cardigans, all that stuff. So he does knit. He's got some
crochet.
And crochet. He's got some secondary skills. So if you want to, feel free to check him out on social media. As far as this video, thank you for tuning in once again. Please like, subscribe, share, all of that. Especially if you do have somebody out there like, you know, that you think maybe gay, that might just have a hard time, like you said, expressing themselves, whatever. The point of these videos is not just, you know, for me to stroke my ego and stuff like that or anything. Stuff like this is to educate, and it is
to facilitate,
and to let you know that nobody out here, like you said, is alone in anything. So if you do know somebody that might be struggling to come out or whatever, or you know, like you said, he had that person that was able to help him and guide him and help, you know, flesh out some of his stuff. That could be you. That could be anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So please share that with them. Share this with them. If there's no other resource that you can find, and say, just do your thing, man. Stay positive. Peace. God bless. Uncle Bert, hope this makes you proud. And all in all, everybody have a good day.
Bye.
Peace.